Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Thursday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk all things Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and today's report includes Evgeny Malkin speaks on his future in Pittsburgh after last night's game. The Pittsburgh Pirates make two massive hires. Steelers linebacker Patrick Queen has extra motivation heading into this weekend, and more. As always, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into the first news story of the day. Evgeny Malkin speaks on his future in Pittsburgh after last night's game. Last night, before the Pittsburgh Penguins took on the Detroit Red Wings, the organization celebrated Evgeny Malkin reaching 500 career goals. During the pregame ceremony, Malkin joined his parents and son, receiving a golden stick commemorating him recording 500 goals, and was shown a tribute video from some of his teammates and friends throughout his career. It was a touching moment for one of the greatest players in Penguins history, as Gino was teary-eyed watching the video. Fast forwarding through the game itself, the Pens had a very lethargic start, and ultimately were down 2-0 to the Wings in the second. The crowd was completely silent, and this was very frustrating to watch, especially with the Pens being at home on a night honoring Malkin, and only 2 nights removed from getting embarrassed by the Stars. Nearly midway through the second period, the Pens showed some life, with goals from Brian Rust and Anthony Beauvillier. However, no matter how hard they tried, Pittsburgh couldn't get the tiebreaker, and the game went to overtime. In OT, the Pens had one golden opportunity for Malkin to get the game winner on his night, but he was robbed by Wings goaltender Cam Talbot. Just moments later, Red Wings defenseman Simon Edvinsson had a shot go through Pens goalie Alex Nedeljkovic to end it, and Detroit skated away with the extra point. It was the same old irritating story yet again for the Pens, but after the game, the man of the night, Evgeny Malkin, had a very interesting quote. When talking about his career to this point and his time in Pittsburgh, Malkin said, "It's my second home here. I'm glad to be here. Doesn't matter what. We win or we lost. I want to be here. Always together, with Sid, with Tanger." A report has circulated in the past 24 hours that Penguins GM Kyle Dubas is making all players except for Sidney Crosby available for trade. With that, many people are speculating whether or not franchise cornerstones in Malkin and defenseman Chris Letang would waive their no-trade clauses and want to go somewhere else. Well, this quote now confirms that at least one of the two wants to remain a Penguin for the rest of their career. I'm happy Gino said this, and I'm sure deep down that Letang feels the same way. Even though things are very gloomy right now with the Penguins, the trio of Crosby, Malkin, and Letang should stay together. After all, they are the longest tenured trio in North American professional sports history. The trio has been through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows together. I believe they respect their legacies in Pittsburgh and don't want to tarnish it by finishing their careers elsewhere just for a slim chance at another cup after already winning 3. As the Pens look like they're entering a rebuild, if the core 3 wants to stay, then we owe it to them to continue giving support for all the joy they've given us in the past 2 decades. What do you guys think? Do you want the trio of Crosby, Malkin, and Letang to retire together as Penguins? Let me know in the comments below. The Pens devote one of their 3 goalies among other roster moves. In the past couple of days, there has been a lot of turnover to the Penguins roster. To recap, forwards Kevin Hayes and Cody Glass were placed on IR, forward Brian Rust returned from IR, goaltender Tristan Jarry and forward Sam Poulin were recalled to the NHL, forward Matt Nieto went down to the AHL on a conditioning loan, and forward Lars Eller was traded away. Now, Pens general manager Kyle Dubas was once again active this morning, making more roster moves. During last night's game against the Detroit Red Wings, forward Blake Lizotte took a Drew O'Connor shot up high and never returned to the game. With Lizotte going down again with injury and Eller getting traded just 24 hours earlier, the Pens made the following transactions. The conditioning loan of forward Matt Nieto was ended and he was recalled to the NHL, as well as forward Vasily Ponomarev. To make room for these 2 call-ups, goaltender Yoel Blomqvist was sent down to the AHL. Starting with Nieto, he suffered a major knee injury last November and had surgery on it this past summer. The 32-year-old was sent down to Wilkes-Barre on a conditioning stint last week where he had 1 goal and a +2 rating in 2 games. He remains on injured reserve for the time being, but will probably be activated and back in the Pens lineup soon. Forward Vasily Ponomarev gets his first call-up as part of the Penguins organization. Ponomarev was acquired by the Pens at last year's trade deadline in a package of players from the Carolina Hurricanes for forward Jake Gensel. Should he crack the Pens lineup, it will be his third career NHL game, as he played 2 games for the Canes last year, recording a goal and an assist in 2 games. And the last part of this morning's transactions is goaltender Joel Blomqvist going down to the AHL. Ever since Tristan Jarry got called back up from his conditioning stint a few days ago, it was only a matter of time before one of the 3 goalies on the NHL roster went back down. A case can easily be made that Blomqvist is the best goalie in the Penguins organization right now, but after he got lit up for 3 goals on 8 shots against the Stars Monday night, this was the motivation for the Pens to send him back down. They were waiting for Blomqvist to have one hiccup so that they could send him back down with minimal backlash from the fan base. Penguins brass also can't afford having either a goalie who nearly got them into playoffs last year, or a goalie they're paying over $5 million to sit in the minors. With Jarry now getting another extensive look in the NHL, and the Pens' bottom 6 currently in flux due to injuries, we will have to see if the team looks any different on Friday night. The Pittsburgh Pirates make 2 massive hires. The wait for the Pittsburgh Pirates to find a new hitting coach is finally over. Actually, the Bucks made 2 very interesting hires yesterday, and we're about to break both of them down. Firstly, on Wednesday afternoon, Scott Mitchell of TSN broke that the Pittsburgh Pirates have hired Matt Hague as their new hitting coach. The 39-year-old gets the job after being in the Toronto Blue Jays organization for the past 4 years. Hague joined there in 2020 as a minor league hitting coach, but spent last year as a major league assistant. For what it's worth, here are last year's batting stats for the Blue Jays with Hague as an assistant hitting coach. In 2024, Toronto had 1,306 hits, 18th in the league, 280 doubles, 5th in the league, 26 triples, 10th in the league, 156 home runs, 26th in the league, 648 RBIs, 23rd in the league, 671 runs scored, also 23rd in the league, 510 walks drawn, 9th in the league, 1,233 strikeouts, 6th in the league, and a .241 team batting average, 19th in the league. In Hague's 1 year as an assistant, the Blue Jays offense had its strengths and weaknesses, but was ranked higher than the Pirates in all but 2 stat categories. The Bucks were ahead of the Bluebirds in home runs and RBIs, but were higher by only 1 spot in home runs and only 2 spots in RBIs. What catches my eye is where the Blue Jays ranked in extra base hits and strikeouts last year. The Pirates were 26th in doubles and 22nd in triples, while the Jays were in the top 10 for both. As for strikeouts, we all remember just how bad the Pirates were in the swing and miss department last year. The Bucks were 27th in strikeouts, but Hague looks to be a major upgrade as the Blue Jays were only 6th in strikeouts. This also won't be Hague's first time in Pittsburgh. The former first baseman was a player for the Pirates in 2012 and 2014. Mitchell added that Hague was popular and well-liked among players and coaches, and that many in the Blue Jays organization and fans alike were sad to see him go. So you're telling me that we now have an actual hitting coach who is liked by the players and has been in the organization before? I'll take it. It's not like Hague has a high bar to clear replacing Andy Haynes anyways. Now for the second new coach. Also hired by the Pirates yesterday is Brent Strum as their new assistant pitching coach. That news broken by the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Noah Hiles. Strum was most recently the head pitching coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks, where he held that position for 3 years. Before that, the 76-year-old was the Houston Astros pitching coach for 8 years, starting there in 2014. In his 11 combined years as pitching coach, Strom has been to the World Series 4 times in 2017, 2019, 2021, and 2023, with 1 win in 2017 as an Astro. In all seriousness, I'm shocked that a coach with that resume would now take an assistant role with the Pirates of all teams, but hey, we'll take it. I believe Strum will be very excited to play with some of his new toys in Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, Mitch Keller, and some of the Bucks' highly touted pitching prospects. Hiles added that Strum will be in the dugout during games, leaving one last glaring hole left to fill in the Pirates coaching staff for 2025, which is a new bullpen coach. Nonetheless, these 2 hires in Hague and Strum give me at least a little bit more hope for the Bucks next season. Welcome back to the Pittsburgh organization, Matt Hague, and welcome to Pittsburgh, Brent Strum. And lastly, Steelers linebacker Patrick Queen has extra motivation heading into this weekend. I can just say it's Ravens week, and that'll be enough to get Steelers players ready to run through a brick wall. However, one Steeler will have just a little bit more motivation than everyone else on the team. and that is linebacker Patrick Queen. After being drafted in the first round by, and spending his first 4 years in the NFL with the Ravens, Queen, in a big twist, signed with their arch-rival Pittsburgh Steelers this past offseason. Talking with the media yesterday, Queen made his feelings known about this game and how things ended for him in Baltimore. Let me see how I want to answer this. I wasn't offered to go back. I don't know if I said that or not in public. I wasn't wanted back. I didn't get an offer back. And you know, it's definitely kind of upsetting, being there for 4 years and the bond that you grow with your teammates and stuff. But at the end of the day, like I said, the first few months, you definitely go through those feelings. And now, after playing games, you just want to win games. You want to win with your teammates. Your new teammates, you want to bond with those guys. Everything you do is for this organization that you're at now. Like I said, I will have feelings. Obviously, anybody in my position would this week. So I'm just taking one day at a time, and whatever happens, happens. Queen added that he hasn't spoken once with Ravens head coach John Harbaugh or Ravens general manager Eric DaCosta since he signed with the Steelers. He has to be one of the most motivated people on the planet right now. If he's not, I'm sure Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin is doing what he does best, which is firing his players up. I bet Coach T has already told him things like, "You were never meant to be a Raven," and "They thought it was fine playing you twice a year." A bunch of eyes will be on the now Steelers linebacker in what feels like the biggest game in the rivalry between the Steelers and Ravens for some time now. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up a Thursday edition of the Steel City Sports Report. Again, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow with some more Pittsburgh sports news.